Hey everybody, I am your host of today's show. My name is Monica Sekhmet Grant, CEO of Young Boss Media. I am so excited and just happy that you are here today. Um, if you see this 5 years, 10 years from now, you might not know that we are in the middle of a pandemic and a global uprising all at the same time. And we still have folks out here fighting to make sure that we have safe streets, safe communities. They're running for office in an extremely challenging time. And so I wanted to bring on the show, bring on the platform, a sister that is out in the streets. She's doing way more than her opponents. And I wanted to share my platform with her to make sure that she gets the light and the shine to speak her piece because she's actually out here making a difference for our next generation, for our elders, for our seniors, for our schools, for our high school students, to make sure that we can actually live in a safe community as a Black person, as a brown person, as a Latina, as a woman, as just a people of multiple identities here in New York and in this country. So this person is Chantel Jackson, and she's running for the assembly position of the 79th district in the Bronx. Chantel, we got a lot to talk about because there's a lot going on right
Hey,
now.
absolutely.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so one, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and just tell us who you are, and then we just gonna go in.
All
So
right.
welcome.
Well, thank you, Monica, sis, queen. Thank you for even giving me the platform and the ability to rap with you. My name is Chantel Jackson. I am running for the New York State Assembly here in the 79th District in the Bronx. I am from Harlem. I've lived in the Bronx for the last 13 years. Shout out to Harlem.
All day.
Yeah, I lived in the Bronx for the last 13 years in South Bronx to be exact. And I'm a social worker. I'm a high school social worker. I work with high school students every day. I'm a mom. I'm an author. And I'm running for office because I want to give voices to social workers, to mothers, to vulnerable population. My story is that I've been on every form of public assistance. I became a mom when I was 18 years old. And through all of that, I was still able to get my degree in social work. I was able to own my own home at 23 years old. And it's all because I utilized the support services that they use to make fun of us with. I use those support services to build myself up. And I just want to make sure my community can do the same thing and just go further than I have.
That's amazing. Homeowner at 23. I love that. You young boss. We love that.
That's you. That's you.
It's a collective. I'm recruiting you right now. This is beautiful. That is beautiful. Tell me, what made you want to run? Because this is not running in New York City is not an easy task. What made you say, I'm going to do this?
Not an easy task. Yeah, that's like an understatement. But you know what? The truth is, being Black in America isn't an easy task. Being woman in America is not an easy task. Mm-hmm. And being poor in America is not an easy task. And I've been all three. Right. And so it's necessary. I am needed in this moment. I am needed in this moment. And so I run for mothers. I run for Black women. I run for women. I run for the immigrant population because my mom came here as an immigrant from Belize. Mm-hmm. I run for my students. They need me. And so this is bigger than me. I go to FCBC still in Harlem, and my pastor, Pastor Mike Warren, will always say to us for this year, it's bigger than you, and this is bigger than me. I'm just the vessel.
Right, amen, 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 that's a fact. Let's talk about like what's going on in the world right now. Global pandemic, coronavirus, people unemployed, kids out of school. And then the police got the nerve to still want to act like it's normal. Normal time to beat up Black people, kill Black people. We have incidents in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, George Floyd, Minnesota. Uprising in every city, in every community. In this country, we're looking at London, UK, all across the world, pot boiling over. What is your take as a person, as a leader of your community? How do you process this? And then how do you give direction in this time?
Yeah, you said a mouthful. You
Mm-hmm.
said a mouthful. Black people, people of color, poor people, we've been dealing with a pandemic of poverty before we even had a pandemic called the COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And so unemployment for us has always been high, and now it's even higher. Police brutality has always existed for us, and now we're filming it, right?
That's correct.
So how do we address these things? What do I tell people? Is do what you're purposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I chose to be out at the protest all weekend, last weekend. Every protest I can get to, I got to. And I don't have a voice because of it. But that was on my heart to do, right? And I was at the cleanup of Fordham because here in the Bronx, we dealt with people breaking into stores and taking things. And you heard how I used that, right? Breaking into stores and taking things.
Yeah.
We dealt with that in Fordham. And so I went there to do the cleanup. And then the next day we thought that 3rd Avenue would get hit. So I went there to do a cleanup as well. So what I say to people is, don't lose why people are outside protesting. We are protesting because we are tired of dead bodies, dead Black bodies, at the people who are civil servants, people who are here that we pay taxes for to protect us. That's why people are out in the streets. That's why I wake up every day and figure out, how can I protect my brothers and sisters so they can just breathe? That's all I'm asking for. And so I don't want us to get lost. I don't want us to start listening to the noise. We are tired. We are sick and tired, and we're going to take any and every action to make sure that we dismantle white supremacy and institutional racism.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of that statement. How do we do that?
So first things first is, I don't want every Black person to feel like that's your job, because it's not. We didn't create this system. We didn't create this system. This is a white person's job to fix because they broke it, right? The second thing is, I'm gonna do my part, and everyone needs to find out what their part is. Now I'm choosing to go into the state assembly so I can work on legislation. And your job may be that you become a police officer, so we infiltrate every single system. Your job may be to be the lawyer. Whatever it is that you're purposed to do, you do that. But for me, what God told me to do was that you run for office and you deal with it at the legislative level. But we have a job and responsibility to do it at all levels. Some of us may be community leaders, and we need to make sure that we're advocating for our community, right? So we're all picking our part and our purpose, and we run forward with that.
Absolutely. So a conversation I've been having often is that, because people are coming to me, Monica, what do we do? And part of it is what you said, is like, do your part and really figure out what that is. And this epiphany of, across America, because as a child, I grew up in just different areas, moved around. But I don't ever remember being a part of a community class. What is a community? What does it mean? What are the different parts of a community? We've been taught to get jobs to work for somebody else's community. And then we think that because we live around each other, we're actually within the same community. Like, we go to a job that puts resources, takes money and puts it in somebody else's community. We don't have our own healthcare system, our own transportation system, our own food and grocery stores. We don't have those pieces that actually make up the community. And so when people get to say, well, what we got to do is this, we got to do is that, it's like, well, you're actually all correct, but we're not having a full conversation because we don't understand how it fits in the puzzle. And so we're all lost, feeling like, well, if I don't get guns, then I'm not, you're not doing it right. So you gotta protect yourself with the weapons. But it's like, well, that's the defense part of the community. And so those people need to make sure that we have that. And sure, everybody should shoot, but there needs to be the defense department, you know. And so really breaking that down. And so that's something that I want to put together is like, what is a community class, you know, and to really like lay down the foundation of that so that we can understand like, all right, well, this is the sister's role. She gonna make the laws. But as a community, we got to make sure that we're actually communicating with her about what we want from our community, what we need, you know? And so that way you're not stressed on people not even coming out to vote. And that's why people don't come out to vote, because they don't understand like, yo, what is this? You know, I ain't got no job because they ain't give me no job. What's like, well, as a community, we're actually here to provide for ourselves. You know, so that's something that's really been on my mind, and like you're hitting on that.
No, 100%. We all collectively create the community, and we lack having that Black community, but it's for multiple reasons as to why, right? Mm-hmm. When we created our Black community, they were bombed.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Every time we tried to be collective, just have our own banks and our own lawyers, our own doctors. There's a system in place to make sure that those things do not happen and do not succeed. And so I can talk about the history of why that is the way it is, but I think we don't have enough time today. And what I will focus on is what can we do right now in this moment?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about building community, we have to understand that everyone isn't meant to go on my journey. Everyone isn't meant to go on Monica's journey. And what you need to do is find the people who are supposed to go on that journey with you, right? Harriet Tubman did not take everybody. Everybody does not get to go. All you got to do is find the people who are on the same journey as you and ride out with them, right? So like when I decided to go do a community cleanup at Fordham, you know, I posted it on my social media, and one of the people said like, why are you cleaning it up? For them to go and destroy it? Or someone else said, well, won't the people who destroyed it come and clean it up? And I'm like, well, that is not your journey. So you don't got to worry about that. And I think we spend too much time talking about like what other people are doing instead of just doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Just do your part. What God told you to do. Go ahead, bro. Go do that.
And that's it, because like, you know what you're supposed to do. Like that voice will tell you, but it's, are you obedient?
Are you obedient?
Are you obedient? Because we, you know, what we need to do is like, nah, what you need to do is this. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You just got to follow your voice and be obedient. And if we all did that, we would move closer, you know, and that's a spiritual level, you know. We're in a spiritual warfare, and we always heard that, but it really is spiritual. You know, we got our ancestors fighting for us, you know, like we're covered, but we still got to move our feet, and we still got to do the work, and we can't miss that piece.
You said a word. It's all true. It's all true. I'm with you.
Yeah. So tell me, what is it like? So one, what is the 79th district? What does that cover?
So I don't know if you can see back here, but this is my district map.
Okay.
And the 79th district covers like Concourse Village, Morrisania, Melrose, Claremont, Belmont, a little bit of Belmont. And it pretty much goes from 156th Street down by where I live, which you have Morris Avenue, 156th Street, and it goes up north almost to by the Bronx Zoo.
Okay.
I don't know if it's kind of hard to see because it's far back, but
you breaking down the streets actually makes it more real for me. Like seeing the map is like, I don't know, but like I can understand, you know, going up to the Bronx Zoo, South Bronx, Morris, Concourse Village. I done petitioned out there, you know, so I know that. Yeah.
I live now. I've been here for 13 years, and you know, just every single day I wake up, I feed people. I hand out gloves and masks and hand sanitizer, whatever the community needs. They know, you know, there's a lot of seniors that live here. They call me for everything. They'll, like today I got a call just to ask, how do I submit my ballot for this election? And I walk them through it. As long as I have breath in my body, trust me, I'm going to fight for this community.
Yeah. So are you actually on the ballot? So I know some people have to be written in.
Nah, I'm on there.
Amen. Amen.
So how this works is, so you have to file. I'm going to just walk you through the process of getting on the ballot. And okay. first-time candidate. I've never done this. I am not a politician. I am a social worker and a mom, a Black woman. Those are all the titles that I've used, to describe myself. A politician is not one of them. But I learned this journey as I went through it. And so there's paperwork that you file with the state and the Board of Elections to let them know you want to run.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a process called petitioning. So you have to ask the people in your political party, so Democrats, you have to ask the Democrats who actually live and vote in the district that you are running for to sign a petition that says, I am allowing Chantel Jackson to get on the ballot so we can vote for her whenever the primary is.
Got it.
And that petitioning part happened for us late February, and it was cut short because of the pandemic, right? So you need to get at least, normally you need to get at least 500 signatures from the district that says you're able to run.
500 clean signatures.
Right.
Yeah.
500 clean signatures. So clean just means they are registered in your district and they are of your party, right? They're registered to vote in your political party in your district, right? And so what happens is you'll meet people on the street and they don't know if they are still registered at their old address or their new address.
Right.
They may write their name ineligible, and so you can't read it. So you need clean signatures where you can read the name and address. And they need to, of course, live in the district, be of your party. And so to get 500 clean ones, you normally collect more than that. You collect a lot more than that.
Right.
And so for this year, because of the pandemic, it was reduced from 500 to 150.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
So a lot more people were able to get on the ballot because the threshold was so low.
Yeah.
So for me, I personally collected over 300 signatures, like me personally going to talk to people. But we submitted, my campaign submitted about close to 1,300.
Got it.
To make sure that I made it on the ballot. So if they started knocking off signatures, I would still have enough to make it. Yeah.
That's amazing. When did you start campaigning?
So normally people will start their campaigns like a year in advance or, things like that. I think I actively started maybe like September-ish.
Okay.
But this position has been like talked over for me for a very long time. So our current assemblyman is Michael Blake. And I met Michael Blake because I was a member of my co-op board. And I was the elected official liaison. So I was the connect between the board and all the elected officials. So I met Blake and Louis Sepulveda, and at that time, Senator Ruben Diaz. I met all those people and I had a connection with them. And I told Blake one time at our family day that I said, I'm gonna take your job, like joking. And then like maybe a few months later, he called me, he was like, you serious? You really wanna run? And I was like, yeah, I mean, when I get older, I'll do it. And he was like, nah, I'm gonna start preparing you now. And literally prepared me to take his job since that day.
That's a real leader, and that's what we need. Yeah, that's a real leader. You ready for it?
I don't think there's a ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm called for it. I'm called. I've been called. I'm gonna answer the call. I've been telling people this is the hardest thing I've done since being a teen mother. And so, I just learned how to do this, and I'm just excited to show someone else the way.
I love that.
My purpose was just to go through this experience so I can show someone else how to do it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. They ask like, presidents, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get in office? What's the first thing you're going to do when you get in office?
I'm going to celebrate, do a little praise dance.
All right. Amen. Amen.
Celebrate, do a little praise dance, like you're down the hall.
You're.
But like real talk, because this is not like my normal day to day. I think it's important for us not to go in thinking that we're going to solve every single problem we have. So the first thing I'm going to do is to learn and to listen. Learn and to listen. I want to be a part of the learning of the process. and listening to what's happening and what's needed. And I think that's important. My platform, though, is wellness, housing, and education now, right? So
Right.
about wellness, the Bronx has been labeled as the unhealthiest county of the 62 counties in New York State.
Uh-huh.
And so for me, it's extremely important for me to work on legislation and fund programs that will lower diabetes rates, heart disease, obesity, and asthma.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We need to look at the environmental factors that make these things happen
Yeah.
and address that. So
No mental health in there, because poverty makes you crazy.
So I'm glad you said that, because that was the next part of the wellness. So wellness is not just one area. It's physical, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's environmental. Like all of those things make up wellness. And so I want us to be well. And what that looks like is the mental health support. Me as a social worker, that's what I do on a day-to-day. But also the physical, right? So it's the mental, the physical, the spiritual wrapped in one.
Yeah.
And then
So continue. Wellness, and what's the next one?
wellness, housing, and education. Mm-hmm. So I told you, like, I owned my own home when I was 23, and that's not the norm. Like, you're not going to hear people talk about that. And I was able to do so through a state program called Michulama. And so I want to make sure that young people are aware of Michulama, but also make it effective, make sure that it works the way it's supposed to, because it's a long, drawn-out process, and it really doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I want to expand Michulama, of course, continue to build affordable housing, lower eviction rates, right? But I want to make sure that people can start owning homes again. Yeah. Like, the Black home ownership has dropped drastically. And so I would love to see that increase here.
Absolutely. We need it. That's the path to wealth. Ownership. Absolutely. We have to have that.
Right. So when you have a home, you can pass that down. That's the generational wealth that we're talking about. You pass that down to your next generation, right?
Yeah, and to not have to be worried about your shelter, to, like, for your kids to know that I'm gonna always have a roof over my head because my parents took care of that. Like,
yeah, absolutely. That's extremely important. I'm grateful that I can walk away and leave something for my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always taken that into the consideration when I thought about my wealth, and even though I understand the poverty conversation, it's like my mother has a house, my father has a house. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Things
get rough. I can do something with that.
I can do something with that. I can. I have something to lean on. I still have a crutch. Like, I'm aggressive. I'm gonna go out into the world, but no matter what, I'm okay. And a lot of people don't have that, and that impacts the mental health, that impacts the wellness, that impacts the education, because your taxes go to the education. How are you even showing up in your community if you don't have a stable home that you're growing up in, that you're raising your family in? So all of that is really, like, it's holistic. It's a holistic approach. Home ownership, very important.
And the last part. So when we talk about education, New York State owes our districts billions of dollars, and we want the money. We want the neediest districts, and we need to look at the budget. I know everyone loves Cuomo right now because he's keeping us calm, right?
Yeah.
The calm voice that's needed. I'm not going to act like that's not needed.
Yeah.
However, we're looking at cuts to Medicaid during the pandemic, cuts to education during the pandemic. And I want to be a part of this system that says we will not take any cuts to Medicaid, any cuts to our social services, any cuts to education, right? It's a collective body to say that. And so when it comes to education, we want the money that's owed to us by New York State, but also I want our curriculum to embody what our kids need right now, or our young people need right now. And that's education in real estate, business, credit, and stocks.
Amen. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could vote for you, sis.
Right. It's in your power, right? Like, I'm hearing people say that, and I'm grateful for it. But it's in your power, because what you can do is people can go to my website, chanteljackson.com, make a contribution, or donate your time, right? I use so many people calling into the district for me and talking to voters about why you would vote for me. but I also need the contributions. Like, I can't do this work without the funds, right? So those two things are absolutely necessary: volunteering time and making a financial contribution. We have to start investing in these things if we're gonna have a voice.
That's amazing. So that's a tangible action that, you know, people are looking for right now. Like, what do I do? What do I do? And that's a tangible action that we can actually have a sister that we could touch and reach out to and talk to, actually advocating for programs that's going to, because I mean, when you help the bottom, we're talking about the poorest county in the nation. You know, if we can help the Bronx, you know, and restructure things in the Bronx, that's going to have a major impact in New York City and just what we can do across the country.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
A lot of hearing that title of like, we're the poorest congressional district. We don't have to be that way.
No.
That, like, we don't have to be that way. And, you know, I think it's time for us to stop having conversations about stuff and start putting things into action. We need action items right now.
I agree. Because we know the problems. We know the issues. We know we got reason to be upset. Where's the action? You know? And I think this is beautiful. When do people vote? Give us all the information. When do we vote? Where do we vote? How do we vote? Give out the information.
So great. Right now, people have ballots in their hands. So New York City, we've been given the opportunity to vote by absentee, so that you don't have to go into the polls. So you can request an absentee ballot at nycabsentee.com. nycabsentee.com. You can request an absentee ballot and they will mail it to your house. Once they mail it to your house, you can send it back. You have already voted. You don't have to worry about that. So you have up until June 15th to make that request online. If not, you can go into the Board of Elections and fill out the absentee ballot request after that. But you have to make the request for the ballot, right? That's number one. Then when you get the ballot, you have up until June 22nd to make sure it's postmarked and sent to the Board of Elections. However, you can actually physically take that same absentee ballot into the Board of Elections on Election Day, which is June 23rd. So I know I said a lot and then I still have more to say. So remember, absentee ballot, you can request at nycabsentee.com up until June 15th. If not, we still have what's called early voting. So early voting happens June 13th to the 21st, meaning that there's going to be a few sites that are open and you can physically vote any of those days at the polling sites. And then our actual election day is June 23rd. And those sites will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
So the actual polling sites, you can go inside. All right. Okay. So people can actually go out of their house and go into the poll.
They can still, even if you request an absentee ballot and you decide, I don't want to fill it out, you want to go to the polls, you literally can still go to the polls. Now, you can't vote twice, but you know, you still have that ability to go into the polls if that's what you want to do. From June 13th to the 21st for early, and then on June 23rd for election day.
Got it. Yeah, I like going into the polls. I want that experience.
Right, because this is my daughter's first time voting. She gets to vote for her mother. So we're definitely going to the polls. I requested an absentee ballot, but I need to experience going to the polls with my daughter and allowing her to vote for her mom.
That's right. Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. Her first time voting. And you know, it's crazy because I called this into my life as well. Like, I believe in putting out in the universe what it is that you want and watching the universe unfold to make you have what you want. And so I said, 2020, I'm gonna run for office. Back when we liked Kanye and he was like, 2020, I'm gonna run for office. I claimed it too. I was like, 2020, I'm gonna run for office. And then I also claimed that my daughter's gonna vote for me for the first time. Some people may or may not know, but April 28th, we would have been able to vote for our presidential Democrat, the person that we would want to run on the Democratic ticket on April 28th in New York. And so I was like, dang, my daughter will be able to vote for that. And I'm excited for that, but she won't be able to, her first time voting will be for her mom. And then they pushed it all the way back. I was like, look at God. Yeah, you want her to vote for you? Fine.
That's right. I give it to you. What other positions should people expect on the
So
ballot? Because a lot of times you show up and it'd be like, who are these people?
that's a fact.
So now I got to pull out my phone. I'm in there researching, like, what is this?
Even the most sophisticated person when it comes to voting has to do what you're talking about doing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what the ballot looks like, right? Hold on now. Is this upside down? Yeah. So this is what the ballot looks like. My ballot,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hold on now. This is also what the ballot looks like, right? And then you have one more page. So we have 3 pages.
Wow.
Vote for.
Are there any amendments on there? Anything that we're
nothing.
Making? Okay.
So here's the thing. What we're voting for in this primary, this is a primary, so only the Democrats will be voting on June 23rd. What we're voting for is our presidential primary, right? We have, that's back on the ballot. That was taken off and then put back on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still vote for who you want for president. Then you also have a space to vote for your congressperson. And I'm fully supporting Michael Blake. He's been out here doing the work. 100%
Yeah.
my brother. So you can vote for Congress, then you vote for state senator. And I fully support Louis Sepulveda on my ballot. Then you get to vote for the assembly, which is my race. And then after that, you have see, this is the part that people don't realize, that you vote your judges in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here for you to vote your judges in,
Yeah.
or people who is going to pick your judges rather. And so that exists here. You also have district leaders, male and female, and you have state committee members, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is on my ballot. Plus, so I mentioned the judicial delegates. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anyone. But yeah, that's pretty much what the ballot is comprised of. And
so where is the site that you find out like who's running, so you can do your research ahead of time? Yes, and so ballot. I'm gonna get this right. Ballotpedia shows you all the people who are running. You can go on to vote.org. I think it's vote.org. Mm-hmm. I use another site called Poll Site Locator, and that tells you your polling place, and it tells you all the districts that represent you. So like, I'm running for the 79th Assembly District, but my state Senate district is the 32nd, my city council district is the 16th, and my congressional district is the 15th. Those are all different districts that represent me. And so Poll Site Locator will tell you where you go to vote, but also the different districts that you can vote in. That's great. That's great information. Just in this time of just mass confusion, a ball of confusion, the news only reporting one story at a time, it's even hard to believe that people are still running. You know, I think you're the reason why I know that the election is still happening. You know, because even just as a campaigner, as an organizer, once everything shifted to quarantine, I called Russell and I was like, yo, like, what's happening? Like, what's up with your people? You know, like, where are we? You know, and so like, you're giving me some great information, because it's kind of like, it's been like this black hole of just information. You know, not seeing canvassers, not seeing, you know, the petition, not seeing the flyers, knowing that people can't really fundraise right now, not as much as they used to, been able to. So flyers aren't hitting the mailbox because, you know, folks can't afford it. I never ran a campaign. So people ask, like, how is it running a campaign in a pandemic? And I'm like, I never did it. But what's different is my focus is my community. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm thinking about is, how do I serve? How do I serve my community? How do I make sure that people get food, that people have supplies? You know, how do I make sure they have the basic necessities? So campaigning looks very different for us, right? We're more so focused on wellness. We're trying to make sure we do wellness calls and giving people information about, you know, voting and the election, but also the census. The census, that's still another thing that we are talking about and making sure people are aware of and filling out. You know, the last time I checked, which was maybe last month, we were at like 40% here in my part of the Bronx of having it complete. And so we want to increase those numbers, because our census decides
how much funding goes into our neighborhoods, into our communities. But it also helps us have representation at the federal level. So if we don't have enough people fill out the census saying, hey, we all live here, then we lose representation at the federal level. We could lose a congressional person if we do not fill out our census here in the Bronx.
Right. And it's a very easy process. You can do it online. I know they're sending you stuff in the mail. You're getting it. You just got to do it. We just got to take action, like you said.
No, for sure. And they say the slogan is 10 questions, 10 minutes, but the truth is it's much faster than that if you don't have multiple people or to fill out for multiple people. Like, it's just me and my daughter. It took us less than 5 minutes.
Right. Very simple. It's almost like when you said census, I forgot. Like, I did it, but it's like I forgot. Sidebar. Somebody asked me, did I know of any jobs that are hiring? Is the census still hiring people?
Is who hiring?
The census. Because I remember they were putting out a whole bunch of ads. And so somebody had asked me, like, do you know anybody that's hiring? And so, like, you know, you talk about census.
It was interesting because some people were hired by the census when I gave them the information, and others have never heard back from them. And so someone I spoke to just 2 days ago said that their entire family got hired by the census. So what I would say is still apply. Still go into the website, still apply. And I'm not sure, to answer the question, I'm not sure.
Word. Yeah, you know, I'm getting texts, and so that sparked an idea. But that would be great if we can bring some jobs into our community, as well as help us, you know, help ourselves fill out the census.
I actually worked the census in 2010, and I had a good time doing it. Yeah, it's fun, and you get to talk to people and just talk about like why it's important, because a lot of people don't know and they're scared. That's the other thing, is that there are multiple reasons why people are scared to fill out their census. One is about immigration status, right? So they're like, oh, well, if I'm undocumented, then I don't want the federal government to know I'm here, to question me. I don't want to have any issues with that, right? So that's one. But the truth is there's no cross governmental relationships. What you've put on your census will not then go to ICE. Like, that's not going to happen. So I just want to put that out there. But the other fear is that, like, if you live in HUD or NYCHA, and there are people that's not supposed to be there, right? Like, because they're not on your lease, then people won't fill it out and say that there are 5 people who live here and just put down the 2 that are on the lease. And I'm telling you, this does not get reported to your management company. It does not get reported to any other federal or state, local agency. So if there are 5 people living there, if your cousin is sleeping on your couch, count the cousin too. And don't forget the babies. If there's a baby born, I think the deadline was like April 1st, or if anyone's living in the house during that deadline period, then count them. The babies need to be counted. The cousin who just lived there for a few months needs to be counted. Everyone needs to be counted.
Grandma, everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
I'm gonna put the census in my community class.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the feedback you're getting from the community? You know, 'cause I love the fact that you say I just wake up and serve.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's the feedback that you're getting from your community? Not just about your campaign, but like how are they taking it? Because I know me, but like, you know, I'm in Harlem. You know, my mother lives in the Bronx. Like, she lives on the Kingsbridge side. But like what's the feedback? What's the vibe of the streets?
I mean, the people, they see who's showing up, and they're rocking with the people who show up.
Got it.
Right. And the community, they're grateful for me. Everyone that I'm talking to and working with, they have just commended me. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but I'm literally just doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything extra. I don't feel like I'm trying hard. Like, is it hard work? Yes, it's absolutely hard work, but this is natural, normal to me as a social worker, as a community leader. My mom instilled this in me. My dad instilled this in me. Like, I've watched my parents do this work that I'm doing. And so they led the charge, they passed the torch. Now it's on me.
That's amazing. Any last words for the people?
Lots of it.
Go ahead.
Voting is important. Your voice matters. Your vote is your power. You get to tell the elected officials what you need, what you want in your neighborhood. You have the right to vote them in. You have the power to take them out. So use your power to your advantage. Fill out your census. That is absolutely important for us to get money into our communities. Wash your hands. Wear your mask when you're around other people. If you are out there protesting, be safe. I support you. I stand with you. I will be out there continuously standing, fighting, kneeling, marching, yelling until it is safe for my brothers and sisters to just breathe.
I love that. And one more time, give me your website.
Yeah. It's ChantelJackson.com, CHANTEL Jackson.com. You can go there, make a contribution. You can volunteer your time because we need both.
Thank you so much for coming on the platform, first of all. Thank you, sis. We need you. We need you. We need you for the long run. And so we have to do our part to support you and to be able to have that voice that represents us dealing with these laws. Because we didn't go to law school. We not reading the laws that are already in place. So we need people that want to do that work. You know, and it's not about who wants to be seen, but it takes a lot of work. You're signing up to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, and so we have to acknowledge the people that are saying, "I'll take that on. I'll do that piece of the community. I'll take that on." And so, as the citizens, as the people of the community, we have to support the people in our community that say, "I'll do that. I got you. Don't worry. Just show up and vote." We have to make that happen. We have to. This is the action piece right here. So for everybody that's asking, well, what can I do? This is actually what you do. It's not what you can do, it's what you do. You vote for the people that are saying, "Sis, I got you. Bro, I got you. I'm the one you want to represent you." You know, and so that's what this conversation is about. Please make sure that you support the system. Donate. If you can volunteer. If you can share this video. So our Facebook Live went down, but I'm gonna post it immediately up. Share the video, share her content. Do as much as you can because we have to support our people at this time because we see what's going on in the country. These folks don't love you. They don't even like you. They don't even want you around. They want you to go back to Africa. They just not funding it. They're not funding nothing. They actually are defunding everything for us. We are on our own. So we have to step up and take all the necessary action. And voting is just a step. It's not enough. We have to make sure that we communicate with the people that we're voting into office. Sis, hey, I got this going on in my community. Help me out. We have to continue to do that work. And that's why understanding what a community is so important because we all play different roles. You know, we have to now take those bricks and stop putting them in other people's communities and start building our own right where we are. And so the one beauty of this whole entire time of the pandemic, the silver lining is that because we're all now in the virtual world, we actually can communicate with each other quicker, faster, more efficiently, with more people. We can get on WhatsApp, we can get on so many groups and communicate and build that community right here from the laptop. So do what you gotta do. Action piece, Chantel Jackson, get her in office. Let's get this done right now, ASAP. So you got till June 23rd, whether you're doing an absentee ballot, you got to June 15th to make sure that you got that requested, June 22nd to get that in if that's what you're doing, or you walk into the polls. I'm gonna be at the polls, June 23rd, all right? So that's what we're gonna do. Chantel, congratulations. I'm gonna talk into this. Congratulations, you already got it. You already got it, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and that's my time. This is Young Boss Media. This is what we do. We here for the people. Social impact, making sure that we out here for our people. Black media, you gotta support us. Please share the content. Bring more people like this sister on, and we just gonna be here. We ain't shook. We ain't shook. I don't care what the times are. We ain't shook. We ain't going nowhere. All right, Young Boss Media, baby. I love y'all. Stay safe. Peace. Thank you, sis.
You're so dope.